Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Invictus Racing League, the realistic performance league on the PlayStation platform, brought to you in partnership with gridfire.com. I am one of two commentators for this evening, Malc, and with me again, and it's an honour and a privilege to have him back again, is JPH. How you doing, mate? You alright?
I'm well, thank you, mate. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing very, very well. This is going to be a classic at the Brazilian Grand Prix. I really am looking forward to it because obviously last night you've been crowned the champion of the McLaren team for the drivers as well as the constructors. So I bet that's a relief from your perspective in F3 now.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite nice to have it done earlier. You can have the rest of the rounds. You can just experiment a little bit more. But I mean, tonight's not about me. It's all about the RP guys and what they can do for effectively 48 laps, split between two races.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how they're going to do it because they'll probably had a sick and tired of the Brazilian Grand Prix after tonight. But you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Good evening to everyone that's in the chat. Hello to IRL. Hola. Spud says, welcome, lads. Reeds, good to see you back again. Says, hey, peeps. Spud says, welcome to the F3 Championship table, JPH. Oh, that's a nice touch from Spud, to be fair. Because he did win, ironically, I always say this every time, but he did win his first ever world title in F3, ironically, at this track. And it could be on for ages, but I don't want to talk too much because we're going to have to go straight into the driver standings quickly. And it's really close. Ginger Tiger is in first place with 202. Russman is in second with 200 points. Smoke is in third with 188. Melanade, or Melanada, is in fourth with 181. In fifth, you've got Sunboy with 169. Darryl in sixth with 166. Speed Queen is in 7th with 150. In 8th, you got ARL with 149. Jaramster's in 9th with 147. FRL O'Stephen, the man who cannot get past the full traction, is in 10th place with 136. And the rest are under 136 points. And the rest are under that. Constructors quickly, I will try to do it quickly before the timer starts because we know what's going to happen. The Rears Performance League constructors. At the moment, the reigning champions of Rustman and Smoke, they're still in the lead with that Race Ventura wind detectors. I absolutely love that name. 388 points is in first. You got the Smooth Operators is in second, joint with neither Fast or Furious. And with 313 points. Bouncy Proportion Drivers is in fourth with 291. And Nikita Mazepin's Racing is in fifth with 261. And the rest are under 261 points. And just a quick recap of the car allocated cars quickly. So at the moment, I think Tadeli is not there this evening. So I believe Spud is the only one who's in the Ferrari. Darryl and O'Stephen Red Bull. Sab Manonade in Mercedes. Alfa Romeo Nitro of JP. McLaren of Joe Hamster and Michael Lucht. You got Alpine of Simon Palmer and Kezas. Simon Palmer to watch. As well, because he's really eager from what he said to me yesterday in the F3 race. AlphaTauri with Ginger Tiger Rustman, Haas with Sunboy and Smoke, and Aston Martin of Speed Queen and ARL. Let's go straight into the live scenes. And I tell you now, Rain says, now JP has to take the commentator's title from Malc. I can't believe that. I cannot believe that one bit, Reens. And ARL says, I hope to get an advantage for next race because I'll have a person track analysis this weekend. We'll have to wait and see how it all plans out. But driving round in Brazil, like you done yesterday, do you feel like it was more of a confident track for you, or do you feel like there's going to be a bit more strategy than what we have seen throughout this week?
It depends on how the races go, really, but Brazil is one of those circuits where you're either confident with it or you're not. There's no in between. If you're in between, you're having a big crash probably somewhere.
Absolutely.
You've got all the crests and the cambers, and that just makes the car light over the crests. Through the cambers, it just makes the rear slide. And as we saw last night and in other races this week, it's very easy to lose the back end, just mid-corner.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and weird about it. I know I'm stating based on the F3 race that I've seen, but before, anyone that did not watch the race, we had two safety cars. One, the real one, came out the first time. The second time that came out, there was a bit of an unusual safety car instance, shall we say. But I won't go into too much detail because you need to watch it. It was a fantastic, mad race, to be fair. Good evening to Stuart. How you doing, mate? It's this evening F1. Looking forward to tonight. Let's see. We're going to have a classic. We're going to have straight to feature. No formation lap. 12 laps, I believe. And then we're going to go straight into the 36 laps of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Here we go. Let's do this. And here we go. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights, and we all go, go, go. Who's had the great start? Who has had the great start in this epic race? Oh, down, holding on. Simon Palmer drops down. Oh, someone's right down. Stevens dropped down. Michael's all the way down as well. There's quite a few drivers who have had a carnage of first corner shenanigans as well. This is mad scenes, to be fair. Right, I tell you what, Melanie, IRL's moved ahead of Nitrogash into turn 4. That's a good move, actually. But what a manic start, and I think there might be some question marks this evening, JP.
Yeah, it looks like normal turn 1 bunching into the first corner. Oh, as we got a spud round through Ferragura. Which is not ideal, not an ideal place to go. But yeah, it looks like a lot of bunching through the first corner like you normally get in Brazil, and just a couple of taps here and there with a few spinners, but luckily they've not lost too much time. They're still on the back of the train, so hopefully they can make their way back through. But another yellow flag, looks like goes Stephen.
Yeah,
possibly around, Magulio.
Yeah, so Steve unfortunately and Spud having a tight time to start off. We've had the Brazilian the sprint race, shall we say. So, mad scenes, but it looks like Melanado's trying to get close to Simon Palmer. Let's have a quick look at that battle, because that could be spicy moments now. And Saab is going himself into the pit, so I'm wondering if there's going to be any front wing damage from this perspective.
No front wing for Saab.
No front wing for Saab, so something must have happened from that situation. Might have just gone in for the fresh softs just to see what would happen. But Melanade is trying to push on. Rusmo's trying to close the gap onto Nitrogash. And there's so many battles. Keza closing in on Speed Queen in 9th place. So it's the knock-on effect, and we're coming up to near the end of the season. Do you think the pressure's on for some of the drivers, JP?
Oh, if you're in that battle for the championship, the pressure's definitely on. You can't really afford to lose any points at this stage, not with that shorter gap. But one interesting thing about is the variation of strategies. Normally it's only 1 or 2 people that take a gamble on the softs, but we've got Darrow who's leading, hoping to take advantage of that early. Smoke, Speed Queen and Joe Hamster all on the softs. Obviously Sabat changed to softs when he switched his front wing. So it's going to be interesting to see how they hold up and whether the medium runners will come back near the latter stages of the race.
I think the softs can only last about probably at max 10. I would say probably 11, depending on if you've been to too much battles. That's the big question. If they're in too much of the battles, then they need to be careful. And if they don't mess up, then they might be okay. They might be okay to try and drift away and try and keep that composure. We've not heard anything from the weather crew just yet, guys. We've not heard anything from the weather crew, so I believe, from what being told, it is going to be a dry race as well. So as things stand, they're coming to turn 10, which is, I always get it wrong every time, the hairpin corner. I don't know why, JP. I always struggle at that corner to try and get that exit out down the hill to try and get into that end of the second sector into the third.
Yeah, Bico to Pato, not the easiest. It's quite a tight hairpin, probably one of the tighter ones of the circuit. And you've got to make sure you're straight. But Melanade, looking all over the back of Simon Palmer up towards turn 1, has a little poke out, almost on the grass like Jack did last night. But it looks like Keza and Speed Queen also having a bit of battle. Keza up to 9th, going into Curva 1.
Yeah.
Melanade is looking very racy behind Simon, and if they're not careful, they're going to let Daryl get away here if they battle too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Simon Palmer needs to use all of his experience to hold up. Well, try and catch up to Daryl. Otherwise, that's it. And you don't want to lose too much time. And if you do, you're in deep, deep trouble. But Daryl, with that Red Bull car, going to give him some wings moments as well. But yeah, just at the moment, Menonado try and push on in from third, but cannot put the pressure on. But let's go back to the mid-pack. Speed Queen dropped herself down to 10th, as you said earlier on, JP, for Keza to make the move. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, the sprint race has brought a bit of difference of results as what we would have expected to see this season. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, as I think Sam's gone round at Ferrajora, that's what that yellow flag's for. Yeah, I think it has brought in some interesting results because obviously, as I think it was side by side, Joe Hamster was very close to Speed Queen going side by side through Curve 1. Couldn't quite get the move done though. But I think also to play into that is also obviously his realistic performance. So if you've got a Red Bull or a Mercedes, you are going to be quick. Like the likes of Speed Queen here, she's probably in one of the worst cars for the night. In the Aston Martin, it's not a great car in realistic performance terms. So that does play into it a little bit, but obviously with the sprint, you kind of want to make the charge. There's going to be people here who want to make the charge, get up as far as they can, and there'll be others making sure they don't get into trouble, and just finishing just to make sure they don't start the feature race at the back of the pack.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Saab, he has retired in the pits. He has retired himself in the pits, so he will start at the back of the grid in the proper race, in the feature race. And then to tell you what, two-in-a-bed moment coming up now. Norwich and Russman. Oh, I thought there was going to be a two-in-a-bed moment. Looks like Norwich is trying to save ERS. Russman needs to try and make the move. Oh my god, it looks like Ginger Tiger is making the move onto Smoke, but still watching the battle between Russman and Norwich. Can they try and hold on? They need to push on. They're going down the straight with that DRS train on ARL for 4, but they can't make the move just yet up to turn 4. But I tell you what, they've got to get rid of this DRS train if they want to get a good position. They need to do something on this. And one of the drivers has just gone off. I think, oh, that was Sab's car, I believe, just coming out of the pits from that retirement. Oh, who's that? That's Ginger Tiger. Ginger Tiger and Smoke. Ginger Tiger was really slow on turn 8, I believe, so that was a bit unusual. Did you see that, JP?
Yeah, I mean, turn 8, the ESSA hairpin, again, it's one of those awkward ones. You kind of want to keep it tight because it opens up the line through Pinarino on that cambered hairpin, so I wonder if he's just basically almost parked the bus a little bit so that Smoke can't get past, so that he gets the better racing line through there. But this is going to be tough for him to defend, especially if Smoke has a little bit more ERS than him. To the outside of Curve 1.
Oh!
Can't do it.
But he can! Oh, come on! Come on! No!
He's gone round.
No! No! Just, you do something nice for them, and what do? They spin! They spin! But Kesa! Oh, come on! Come on! Oh, brilliant move! Brilliant move against Ginger Tiger! That was a great move on turn 4. That was unbelievable stuff. I got a feeling we're going to be in for an absolute classic, JP.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Smoke. He just basically beached the car almost on that curve, because that does have a little ridge on the back section of it, and it does make the car spin, so it's unfortunate for Smoke. But again, he's got a little bit of time to try and pick up a couple of places, possibly on Michael Lupka if he's got the tyres left. But luckily he's got 36 laps to go for the big points in that feature race. Meanwhile, Melody still 3/10 behind Simon, and they're not particularly gaining on Daryl, so I wonder if Daryl is managing that gap on those softs, trying not to take too much out of them. So he's got a little bit of tyre for the end of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's Melody now going down the straight. Simon Paul was using all that ERS. You can tell he's using all that ERS. And Simon Menonade, he's trying to push on massively on that ERS. But again, they can't take advantage. Simon Paul was trying to use, unless I'm mistaken, JP, I think some of these drivers have just gone for more down, like aero down, straight line speeds. That was the word I was trying to say. Straight line speed, more so than some of the cornering. Do you think that's wise?
Depends on your style. Because obviously, the main overtaking points are turn 1 at curve 1, as Stevens says, the fast lap and softs, and Descida del Lago at turn 4. Those are the main overtaking points because of the DRS. So some may set their car up for that, so they've got a better chance through the DRS zones. However, you can also lose a lot of time compared to those with slightly more aero through sector 2, so it very much depends how you prefer the car. If you don't mind the car being a little bit oversteery through the corners, you'd set up more for the straights. If you'd rather have a car that's a little bit more bolted and stable through the corners, you'd have it set up with a bit more aero just to help you through that middle sector.
Absolutely, and watching that tyre from Simon Palmer, he really wants to try and catch up to Darrell. I think the tyre wear for the softs is coming up to near its end, depending on your driving style, obviously. But if Darrell, I'll tell you what, he's under a second now, so I'm going to have to go back to the top 2 because, yellow flags.
That's Melonade.
Melonade did everything right. He did absolutely everything right, except for that spin, except for off track. You can't afford to do that. Always got to be careful not to cause any havoc anymore. But he went from third.
Mark, that is identical to last night. It was through Ferradura and Laranja, and he's come over the top of the crest. I think the rears have lit up and just the car's gone. No more, thank you. And those rear tyres are going to be so overheated. He's going to have to take each of these last few corners very steady because it's going to be very easy to spin the car again.
Absolutely, and he's got to be careful. Also, Nitro has finally got to make the move onto ARL into third place. Simon Palmer, here we go. DRS is raving for it now. Darrell needs to hold on. He needs to keep on the inside line. Simon Palmer. Oh, come on! Come on! We want some unbelievable moves! And some great defending as well at the same time. Fantastic racing. Can Darrell hold on? I don't know if Darrell's already struggling now with those tyre wear, but that is, if it is, then what would you say to him, JP?
The biggest thing is you've got to park that car on the apexes through this middle sector, and he done it beautifully through Descida del Lago. He just kept it nice and tight, blocked up the inside so Simon couldn't do a switchback on him. And ARL is dropping down the order. He spun at Pico de Pato, turn at number 10. As you would know it, Malc.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. I try with the turns.
Simon Palmer, sorry, Mark, is now side by side and now ahead of Darrell going into curve 1. But Darrell will have DRS down to Descida del Lago at turn 4.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like Arrow is having a torrid time at the minute. He's dropped himself down all the way down. He might lose out into turn 12 into 13. Now Spuds moves up to 13th place. The former champion ARO would be absolutely livid. We're on the penultimate lap now. And I tell you what, Keza.
Side by side between Keza and Russman. Yeah, Keza down the inside of Russman there.
I was trying to do it quick. Oh, come on, Russman! Oh, I thought Russman was going to go around the outside. That he's never done as well. I've been told on the comments that ARO had a little bit of a tap. That's why he went off track, JP.
Yeah, I wonder if that was in Pico de Pato at turn 10. I got a feeling he went off at Juncal, which is turn 12.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was more down to the tyres being overheated than being tapped. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was maybe contact in Pico de Pato, because that is a half a chance overtaking spot there if you catch people unawares.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what's the struggle of it all, to be fair. And you've got to be absolutely spot on. It looks like Simon Palmer is really eager to get this this perfect pole position in the sprint, but we've got a battle for possibly, from Keza's point of view, in 4th, 5th, and 6th place. Can Russman now make the move onto Keza? Keza's already lost no more ERS. He's got no more ERS ahead. That's why he's trying to save as much as possible. So Russman needs to push. But remember, Russman is ahead of Ginger Tiger. That is crucial for the Drivers' Championship standings. And also will be absolutely perfect for him if he can try and hold on and try and keep it ahead of Jin Tiger. If he does, then he will be the #1 driver after tonight's race. Again, it could all be happening sooner rather than later. But I tell you what, we won't wait any longer because we're at the end of the sprints. Because Simon Palmer, who commented me earlier on saying that watch out for him, he will be contender. Oh,
Ginger Tiger's got a 3-second penalty, so that's going to drop him down a couple of places for the feature race as Darrell finishes second and Nitro third.
Yeah, well done to I was going to say, well done to Simon Palmer, who gets pole position and gets those extra points. Darrell in second, Nitro Gash in third, Kez in fourth, Russman fifth, Speed Queen sixth, Sunboy 7, Ginger Tiger. Not well, he'll not be happy. He'll be in 8th place. Joe Hamster in 9th. Michael in 10th. Menade, who had an unfortunate stuff in 11th. Smoke in 12th. So Spud 13th. O'Stephen 14th, and ARL in 15th place. Here's O'Stephen now. Come up to the final bit now for his stint, and ARL will do his lap to finish off. But what a way to see so many battles galore, and well done to Simon Palmer, who's put his foot down to say this is what's going to happen, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it was a valiant effort from Darrell going on the softs. I mean, they quite clearly went away from it at the end. However, he still got second. He's still on the front row for the feature race, so that works for him. But the results of the sprint, obviously all provisional, even though the grid positions aren't. Simon Palmer will take pole position with Darrell alongside him. Nitrogash will start on row 2 with Keza in 4th. Russman and Speed Queen make it row 3. Row 4 Sunboy, Ginger Tiger. Row 5 Joe Hamster, Michael Lutka. Row 6 Melanade and Smoke. Row 7 Sir Spud and O'Stephen. And row 8 is going to be ARL and Sab, and that's also the results of the sprint and your grid for the feature race.
JPH, remind me to pay you at the end of this session for that. That was perfect, absolutely spot on at the same time. Just catching up with some of the comments in the chat. Where is it? Yeah, Rain says, "Come on, Joe. Come on, Keza, and the rest." Dowell's pulled a heist of a start. Yeah, he did. He had a great start, but he was just lost it near the end with the tyre, I believe. But Simon Palmer did well. Let's hope Bernard Maylander hasn't had mushrooms for lunch again, Lee. Reed says, "I can't remember calling names right, so you are good, man." Thanks for that, Reed. I appreciate that. I'll give you the money after this.
Whilst you're catching up on that, I've had some interesting news from the Red Bull camp.
Okay.
Apparently, Darrell's car was under-fueled, so he had to coast for the last 5 laps.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that was quite. Why did he underfuel? That's a big question.
Possibly after last night's race that he participated in, he might have been expecting a small safety car, because obviously naturally you try, I don't, but most people try and underfuel the car a little bit because it's a little bit less weight, meaning a little bit more pace normally. So I wonder if Darrell was maybe thinking there might have been a small safety car period where he could have saved a bit of fuel.
Yeah, I mean, you would risk it to go under fuel, but not too much though. I wouldn't go too far under fuel, because otherwise, yeah, it's a bit of a risk, but it's the risk where I can understand why he did it, because as you said, we've had a few times where we had the safety car during the feature race as well as the sprint race as well as the feature race, so it could happen any time. So, I mean, fair play to him for trying, and he did well, but that could have been a whole lot worse if it was for other drivers close. Would you agree with that, JP?
Yeah, I mean, the fact they made it without having to go into limp mode when you do run almost completely out of fuel, he's got away with one there.
Yeah.
Had that happened, he'd have been near the back of the pack with no exceptions on that one.
No, absolutely, and he'll be absolutely delighted, and he'll be pouring with sweat after tonight. Right, Reen says, I'm more of a hockey mind, so most of it doesn't apply to her. Hit him, shoot, see no similarity. Reen says, Simon's thirsty for that DRS, which he did. ARL, as I said, he got tapped. Reen says, what a climb from Keza. Joe Hamster is subbing in for Joe Hamster. That's perfect, mate. That's absolutely perfect. Reen says, so far this tiny creature has done great. I mean, he's done well, James. There are races where I'm not commentating him anymore because it'd be a commentator's curse, regardless. I'll try my best, but he will be a commentator's curse. ARL says, ain't over, but kind of frustrating. Had good pace and race in that Aston Martin, but gotta do it again. And yeah, Joe's hamster. Yeah, Joe's hamster. Yeah, I couldn't. You know my pronunciations. You know this by now. So JP, question. I always like to say this to everyone else, but unfortunately, I have to put the pressure on you. Top 3, after you've seen from that sprint race, are you going to see the same, or would you see anything different?
It's tough because of the different tyres, but I suggest Simon Palmer definitely in the top 3. His pace is looking strong. If Darrell can stay out of trouble,
okay,
I think he's a good candidate for the top 3. And the way he's going, Keza is looking like he's got some strong pace. That climb up through the field was very impressive. So I think that would be my 3. In any order of the top 3, those would be the 3 I would say, as long as obviously they stay out of trouble and have a trouble-free race.
Absolutely, and the quick one from me: Simon Palmer, Nigel Gash, and I'm going to say Keza. Top 3, any order, that'll be my order. If not, sorry guys, that'll be commentator's curse afterwards. So here we go, 5 seconds left of the race, of the start of the race. Let's see who will win the actual proper race of the feature. 36 laps, 1 lights, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights, and we are go, go, go! Who's at the great start? Who is at the great start? Looks like someone's dropped down. Dowell's had a flying start with that Red Bull car. Nitro's holding on for 3rd. Keza's dropped down to 4th. No, 5th, sorry, I do apologise. Russman has gone up to 4th, and looks like it's been an okay start, but a few drivers have dropped down a few positions. But Simon Palmer to the bed moment, coming up to turn 4. Oh, brilliant move! Brilliant from Simon Palmer. Can he try and hold on? That's the big question. Some boy moves up to 8. Joe Harrison drops down to 9th. Sam moves up to 13th. Melanade drops. What happens to Spud and also to Melanade?
Melanade was very slow. He was wide through to see Delago. Spud was down the order anyway. I think him and ARL were quite close through the Senna S. ARL actually getting shoved wide and off the circuit, but luckily it was a clean getaway from everyone other than that. And we got Joe's hamster is with some boy through Bico de Pato, through Magulio, and into Junkao, and Joe's the little fella can't quite. Oh, he's still alongside. That's impressive.
Get in!
Good X out of Junkao.
Get in! Oh, what a move! I'll tell you what, I need to shut up. He's dropped down to 9th. Joe Hamster, come on! Joe's hamster, come on! You've got to make the move. You've got to do it now. Sam's dropped down to 14th. ARL moves himself back up to 13th. But here we go. Oh, he had a great exit at turn 2. A long left. Sorry, JP.
No, I was going to say he was very risky on the entry to curve 1. There was Joe Hamster. Almost on the grass with the right-hand wheels, and he's lucky to get away with it. Oh! He's had a big wiggle as he gets on the curb.
But the McLaren, the 2 McLarens to the bed moment. No! Oh my God! Don't you dare do this to me! Don't you dare do this to me! Oh my God, Michael, no! Michael, no! Don't you dare! Don't you dare, sunshine!
Side by side with Smoke now. Smoke's trying to get advantage of this, almost getting past around the outside of Michael Lutka.
What a start! What a start this race! I bet you're loving this now, JP.
Yeah, a bit scary for the 2 McLarens. Fair draw. That's a proper gaming overtaking place. Not you never see one through in real life unless there's a mistake. Not really.
No.
Unless you're Charles Leclerc and then you get clipped into the barrier. Everyone at the front trading fastest lap times, and Darrell only 2/10, and DRS now active. He's going to have that down towards the seated Delaga.
And here we go, they're going down the straight to see what they can try and do. The DRS should be active. Sampower needs to... Oh, yellow flag set to 1. That is Spud. So Spud has spun at turn 1 into turn 2. I don't know if he caught the curve or got contact. I do not know, but he is racing again. There is no safety car, so he's still racing as we speak. Oh, I'm speechless. I'm speechless, JP.
I'm kind of like flicking between 1st and 8th at the moment because Sunboy has a right train behind him. And the main reason for that, he's on the hard compound tyres compared to Joe, Michael Looker and Smoke behind, all on the mediums. So Stevens on the hards, Sab Melonade and Spud all on the hards as well. So a very small fraction of people going on the alternative strategy here. If there's no safety car, it will pay dividends for the end. Obviously, Spud's got quite a lot of work to do. But yeah, if there's no safety car, it could pay dividends near the end of the race. Absolutely, and here we go, turn 1, turn to bed moment now. Oh, Simon Paul, hold on. Turn 2 now, looks like someone had a great exit, and Darrell needs to put the pressure on. If he wants to take this opportunity, needs to push. I don't think he's got ERS. I don't think he's got enough ERS left. But I tell you what, JP, these guys ain't giving up at all. And with this situation at the minute, you can't afford to lose out so many points, especially near the end of the season coming up. No, Joe Hamster did get past Sunboy in the DRS zone up towards turn 1, which is good for him. He can now start to build a gap. And the biggest problem here in Malc is the reason they're fighting so hard is because unlike the usual F1, F2, F3 leagues, the points are completely different, and 2 or 3 places can be the span of 6 points instead of 1 to 3. So there's a bigger points gap difference between very few places because of the way the points work. So, and this is why everyone fights so hard, because otherwise that swing of points could be massive if you make one mistake. Oh, absolutely, and we'll go through the points in a moment too, but I just wanted to see how Smoke, come on Smoke, who's having an unfortunate, oh, careful! There was bit of contact, nothing malicious or anything like that. He did hold on, Smoke. Smoke's holding on, he's trying to get past Michael. They're both, go on, oh my god, we nearly had a 3 to bed moment with O'Steven also joining the party as well. And I tell you what, O'Steven, come on! Oh, I thought he was going to gamble. Nitro, what's happened to him? I think he spun. He spun coming out of Larania, similar to what Melanie done in the sprint. And he's not managed to recover that quickly either, which is not ideal. He's going to drop right to the back. Oh no, so Nitro, who had a great race so far, he's dropped himself all the way down to 15th place. I believe you keep the belt for commentator's curse there, Mel. Okay, I blame on that one. Sorry, Nitro. I accept that 100% with that. And I'm sure Stuart will repeat that to him, and I will cost him a beer at the end of this race, to be honest. So, we got a couple of battles going near the back of the grid as well, ironically. So we got Melonade trying close up to Sab, which IRL's also chasing Steven for 11th place, which there's another train going between Smoke and Michael. Can IRL, the former champion, push on? Or will he try and struggle against O'Steven? But O'Steven's got that DRS. This is what's frustrating for some of these drivers, because you can't make the move if they've got the DRS ahead of them. And you try and do everything you can. And it's really unfair on some of these situations, JP. Yeah, and the only way you're going to do it in a DRS train is if you absolutely deplete your battery. However, most of the guys I've seen, even on lap 5, are derating. I mean, they weren't very high on their ERS percentages. Only 5 laps into the race, which is not ideal, because it's not the hardest circuit to gain your energy back, but the problem is if you're in such a tight battle, you're more likely to use it than you are harvest. So Darrell now getting very close to the back of Simon once again, 0.2 of a second up towards Curver 1. Again, he's not quite going to make any indents. But Keza up to 3rd.
So Kessler moves up to third. That's a good move from him. Daryl's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings.
And Joe's Hamster's got 3 seconds as well, unfortunately.
So it's going from bad to worse for these drivers. I do believe this track is penalty galore if you don't watch it, because even if you went onto the curb with 2 wheels, the game may think that you've took the 4 wheels. I don't know. It's just hit and miss on some of the times.
It's a weird one. Brazil's limits, they're harsh. However, they're not. I wouldn't have said they're clumsy, if you know what I mean. The only clumsy corner around here is the first 3 corners in the S section. Because if you run wide through there or just turning a little bit too early through the second part, you can get a clumsy warning. Most of it's just where you're trying to push the car to its limits. I think that's spud back round again in sector 2. But yeah, a lot of it's just where you're trying to push the car. Maybe you just had a bit of a twitch onto the outside. But it's very, very early, I would suggest, even on this circuit, to be getting time penalties.
Absolutely. Nitro's pushing on, made the move ahead of Melanade in 14th place. Stuart says, yeah, I'll let him know you cursed him. Surely an error, he didn't seem close enough for contact with anyone. Well, it's happened in F3, and it's happened in this race as well. It's always been turn 6.
And the sprint, Melanade's done it last night, and in sprint as Melanade now gets back past Nitro Gas. He goes wide through the Curva de Sol. I think all it is as you go through Ferradura and then Laranja, which is the second part of that horseshoe. You go over the crest, and all that does, it just makes the car that little bit light, so it makes it easier to spin the rears up. And obviously with these things, they are more catchable than last year's game. However, once they go beyond saving, it's very hard to really get them back.
Well, absolutely, and you got it's been a while since I last driven around Brazil, but I don't know what it is. I just never get. I love the track. Don't get me wrong, I love the track, but I just never get into the podium. I'd be very lucky if I did in this track. And here we go. Smoke has got himself a chance to close the gap onto Sunboy in 8th place. We've got Dowell trying to close the gap onto Son Palmer in 1st. But here we go. Smoke with that straight line speed. Down the straight line on the start finishing line straight, now passed into turn 2 into the long left hand on turn 3. And here we go. DRS is going to be active, but Sunboy will probably use all that ERS as much as possible, which is probably frustrating Smoke, JP.
Yeah, well, I mean, Smoke's put himself into a position where he's derating quite a lot at the moment. You see the red light flashing on the back of his car. That means he's derating, which means the car is slightly slower anyway, as it's trying to harvest the energy with just such a low percentage of battery. So it's incredible how early these drivers are using that battery power. And obviously Sunboy isn't really derating anywhere, so he's got that battery to defend against the DRS, because the DRS on its own, especially down to Decido de Lago, isn't quite enough.
Absolutely, and I do agree with you on that one, JP. That I'm surprised that the drivers are already
almost going side by side, looks for the dummy, and he's got the dummy down the inside.
Whoa!
Curve 1. That's a fantastic move from Daryl.
But don't say any more. Don't say any more. Simon Palmer, look at him, his bounce back ability moments, and going side by side moments now. 2 in a bed moment. Brilliant. Never write Simon Palmer off. Never write him off until you pass turn 4, JP. That's my old motto for Brazil. Bish bash bosh.
Yeah. It was a good move from Daryl. He went to the outside, then dived to the inside as Smoke and Sunboy are having a bit of a battle out to see the Lago. But almost makes me wonder there for Simon Palmer whether he actually decided to let Daryl go down the inside, because Simon definitely had the better racing line for the exit of the Senna S and Curva de Sol. So whether that was a planned, you're absolutely fine to go down the inside of me. Well, we might know if Simon stays there and comes in for some interviews later on.
Oh yeah, we'll find out. He's probably doing the old switcheroo where you try and let the driver through, get that DRS in the second part, and then try and take the advantage. But it looks like he's not going to take the advantage, Daryl. So
and that smoke's gone round at Juncal. He's gone to the inside, which would suggest he's lit the rears up, because you don't normally overtake there unless he's been tagged on the back. But I think ARL in the pits.
So, yeah, Aero's in the pits. I think he's trying to do the undercut or try to do something to... Oh, no! Saab spun! Saab has spun. I don't know if there was any contact. I didn't see anything. I don't know whether he just completely lost it, but unfortunately for him, he has dropped himself down to 14th, and he's still racing. I don't think he's got any front wing damage, but it might be the time to get himself back into the pits as quickly as possible. O'Steven challenging Michael for 9th, which is challenging Sunboy in 8th place. But yeah, if you like what we've seen so far, guys, please make sure you like, subscribe to the Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel for all the live race itself. We are aiming for at least 10 likes tonight, guys. We're aiming for at least 10 likes. Will be a massive help to myself, Malc, and JPH. For all the commentary that we have been doing so far in this race, and also the Invictus Racing League YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like button on this stream, guys. Thank you so much. And also, I hope Tim's okay. He is okay. Unfortunately, due to personal reasons, he cannot make it tonight. That's why JPH has joined me tonight. And yeah, unbelievable race. And I think he picked a good one, actually, JP.
Yeah, I mean, we're only coming up to 3rd race distance so far, and it's definitely been one of those chaos, but in a good way, races.
Absolutely.
Luckily, Michael Massey hasn't had to throw a safety car and put my man on the track yet.
I'm blaming you for that one now. If there's safety car coming out, I'm blaming you for that.
It'd make things even more interesting, though, wouldn't it? Have
okay.
Everyone back up together.
Well, except for that F3 second safety car.
Talk about that.
Yeah, let's not talk about that too much. Let's not talk about it. But let's talk about the Realistic Performance League. And here we go. We've got about a couple of car battle. Melonade, watching it from his perspective with O'Steven. O'Steven is having a... ooh, it looks like he was trying to get that back end. They're trying to push on. Speed Queen, she's got herself into the pits. And
which is interesting for Speed Queen. I was going to say that because she normally goes a lot longer than everyone else on the softer compounder tyres. So,
yeah,
interesting. What's she putting on?
Hards.
She's gone to the hard, so it is one stop then. I did wonder for a second for Speed Queen whether she was just going to go for a 2-stop and go absolutely mental and basically go, I don't care about the tyre wear.
I think it's because she tried that many times and it didn't capitalise on her near the end of the race. I think that's probably trying to do something a little bit different and trying to get that early pit stop and push on now, because that's the bit where she'll need to get the points where she needed the most. And yeah, just have to wait and see how everything plans out. But hopefully that'll be the perfect moment with some of the drivers who pitted already for the fresh tyres. The battle between Sunboy and Michael. There was a no Michael no moment with the two McLarens of Joe Hamster, who's in 6th place and doing a quiet race actually, which I'm very surprised with Joe Hamster. Do you agree with that, JP?
I mean, Joe does tend to get involved in a few things, mostly not by his own fault, but it shows when he does have a clean race, as Ginger Tiger, the first of the top 5 to pit. When he does get away clean and has a nice good race, he has got good pace, especially in that McLaren. He can definitely be a top 5 contender, depending on how these pit stops play out. But Darrell getting very close to the back end of the Alpine assignment through Ferragura, and you have to feel here that Darrell is always trying to use Simon to get away from Keza. And what we've got to remember is that Simon and Keza are not teammates. They're in the same team manufacturer's car, but they're not actually the same team in this league.
Thank you very much for that, JP. Just in case of you guys wondering what is going on in this league, with the Realistic Performance League, and yeah, you do get different drivers with different abilities, depending on how fast or slow. It'll be on the ferry of the car, and looks like Darrell, come on! Oh, I thought he was going to try to do what he did earlier on, try to do the old switcheroo on the inside to Simon Palmer, but he's saying no, not yet, I will not make that move just yet. Keza is under a lot of pressure from Russman in 3rd and 4th. Still watching the battle between Simon Palmer and Darrell. It looks like Simon Palmer is really holding on as much as he can and then try and save all that ERS throughout the second and third sectors up to the straight line spaces. But whatever happens, I think this has been a masterclass so far from Simon Palmer.
Yeah, and the question is, how do these guys pit? Because round Brazil, we noted on Monday in the F1 race, big twitch for Simon coming out of Pico de Pato, and you don't have to invite Daryl twice to overtake you through Maguglia.
Absolutely not. It's like you buy one, you get one free, and take that opportunity, and that's what's happened. And looks like Simon Palmer will be livid, but like I said, Daryl needs to push on. But look at Simon Palmer. Oh my God!
Between Nitro and O'Steven, I think that started in Pico de Pato into Maguglia. O'Steven just about hanging on as they exit Juncal. And Nitro's got the Mercedes of Melanie just behind of the good company. Nitro into the pits.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to catch up to that battle between O'Steven and Nitro, but I don't know if you saw Simon Palmer. He's got it feels like he's got no front wing. Well, he has got front wing, but it's like low downforce because he just shot himself past Daryl on that straight line on the Starfish in Australia. That was insane. That's insane, to be fair. And you need to watch that back, JP, if you haven't seen it, because it was nowhere to be seen. And he got himself back up to first.
Yeah, I think it's definitely showing through Sector 2. You can see Daryl sticking with him. And obviously, Simon's car getting twitchy out of Juncal earlier. I think they are set up on opposite ends of the scale in terms of Daryl was slightly more downforce orientated. Although with the DRS, it doesn't really matter how your car's set up because you always get that little boost. But you just can't quite find that last little bit. But again, that was close. But Daryl might be trying to play this smart a little bit now because Keza now only 1.2 behind these guys. They keep fighting, they're going to keep losing that time and that little buffer they have. Absolutely.
It's like Jarvis and Michael, the two McLarens. Even though they're different,
double stacking.
Looks like Joe's hamster will be absolutely loving it because Michael will be waiting ages. JP.
That's it. Considering they're not teammates, that was very nicely done. Michael Looker didn't really get held up at all there.
Oh, okay.
Maybe just a fraction of a second, whilst the rear jackman got out of the way. So that was really nicely done between those two. Considering they're not even teammates and they wouldn't have planned that as they're probably not speaking to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we go, there's still a battle between the top two. We had another battle going on. Also, Tiger was trying to get close to Speed Queen, who she's in 8th place at the minute. So as things stand, the top 7 have not pitted yet. Simon Palmer's gambled. Simon Palmer is gambled to go on the pits. So that's quite interesting. That really is quite interesting. Let me have a look. I'm just going to have a quick look at where Speed Queen is. Speed Queen has come up to turn 12.
She jumped Ginger there.
Yeah, so she's jumped into into turn 12, into turn 13 now to 14. Now, where's Simon Palmer? Simon Palmer should be coming out of the pits now, but I think he might be just ahead of Speed Queen, which is perfect for Simon Palmer, as long as it doesn't hit the wall. I don't know if you remembered all those years ago, JP, where if you hit the wall at Brazil throughout the exit, you would have had an automatic DNF because you would have crashed so easily, even though you slightly touched. Oh no, that's diabolical in its terms as well. So he had to be perfect around there. And looks like Speed Queen is 2.8 behind Simon Palmer. So Simon Palmer will be absolutely loving it and will be ahead based on the top 6 pitting. And when is going to be Daryl's turn to be in the pits? Will it be this lap?
Here's the interesting thing about that statement, Mark, is that on Monday I didn't quite get to finish the point. Ghost came in about 2 or 3 laps later than Stefan onto the hards, and as you see Daryl and Russman pit, but Ghost came out with a bigger advantage initially. He came out with 3 seconds over Stefan. Obviously Stefan caught that up based on the tyre warm-up. But it allowed 3 seconds for Ghost to get those tyres up to temp as he could. So it'll be interesting to see whether this overcut works a bit similar to that, as both Daryl and Russman getting the back end out through the pit lane. This is going to be tight.
I think Daryl's done it.
I think Daryl's got him, yeah. But don't forget, the tyre warm-up is not nice on these hard tyres.
So we have to wait. And see how everything goes at this stage. Looks like Simon Palmer will be putting the pressure on Daryl. Daryl needs to find 3 seconds ahead if he wants to keep that position, based on what everyone else is doing. But the main talking point at the moment, regarding the driver standings, is that Jin Tiger is still in the lead with 201. I think it was 201. Russman with second place with 200 points. So they're 1 point difference. 1 point difference. And as you said, JP, earlier on, points mean prizes at the end of this, at the individual race, and also from the sprint and the feature. And whatever happens, it's going to be crucial. At the moment, Russman is in 7th place, and he's crucial to this stage because he's ahead of Speed Queen in 8th. Fastest up the race, Simon Palmer! Simon Palmer got ahead of Daryl. Simon Palmer got himself ahead of Daryl, and that was a great move. But can Daryl bounce back? Can Daryl bounce back? We've got no DRS behind. Well, no attacking DRS from behind. But Daryl will be back to Groundhog Day moments behind Simon Palmer, JP.
Yeah, I think what Daryl needs to do here in reality is try and work with Simon, because Keza went an extra lap over Daryl and he's not actually gained anything. That overcut for Keza did not work. He's back up to 2.2 seconds. That gap was around 1.6 when Daryl pitted. So the question is, does Daryl now work with Simon to build that gap because of that 3-second penalty? Because it doesn't look like Daryl's got the pace to get in front of Simon and get 3 seconds of the road. So is he now better off working with him, get 3 seconds to Keza and take second place?
Personally, I think so, but this is the problem. You got a driver who wants to win the race on track. You got another driver that wants to win the race on track, but with a penalty.
The only thing for Daryl here,
yeah,
is if he thinks one of his warnings were given unfairly by the game, i.e. if he was avoiding an incident or got pushed off to some degree. If he thinks that he can get that penalty removed,
yeah,
and there's a chance there that he can still win it, but 9 times out of 10, track limit penalties do tend to stay.
9 times out of 10, but could that one lucky option be there? It's a very tough call. Very, very tough call at this stage, but it looks like Simon Palmer needs to hold on. Still watching the battle because you got Keza and Russman. They are closing in a bit at a time, and they can't afford to do that. They cannot afford to do that. But look at this: Simon Palmer's catching up to the two drivers who started off with the hard tyres. Sunboy and Melonade with 20 laps already on those hard tyres. That is insane. I think you know why Speed Queen pitted early. Just because, remember, she's good with the long tyre strategy. I thought she might try and do it with a second stint rather than the first time stint. And it's just letting the two drivers through because there's no point. And so Daryl, Simon Palmer and Daryl, I love this helicopter view actually, go up the top. Can Daryl try and make the move? No, he won't. He will not make that move, JP.
And Keza continues to not really gain any time here on Daryl. He's still around 2.3, 2.4, so since his pit stop he's actually lost a couple of tenths. Obviously Stephen up to 10th after Sunboy's pit stop. So if you decided to Lago, so Sunboy will be looking to get on the back of that Red Bull. I think there's only 2 people left to make a pit stop, which is Smoke and Melonade in terms of the top. Obviously, Spud also has to come in for his stop as well. So you're looking near the back. Joe Hamster probably looking at 7th place at the moment in that McLaren.
Yeah, but at the moment he's still got that 3-second time penalty at least. So that's still everything to play for. I want to go back to the top 2 again, and Daryl, who's had a torrid season this season. He's been really unlucky. Yellow flag set us 2 and 3. That is, I believe, that might be ARL, and now Giles has moved up to 8th, and Daryl is saying, "Well, no, mate, I am not making that move just yet. I'm not making that move. No, oh Oh, I tell you what, JP, if Darrell made that move in turn 5, which no one has ever done in real life, and people done that in the game, if he ever done that, I would buy him a beer for that move, and you'd be laughing about that afterwards. And I would buy you a beer if you made that move as well.
To know, look out for Keza. Look how much he's just gained on this lap, courtesy of this fight. He is now only 1.3, 1.4 behind Darrell. He's taken a second out of the leading pair.
Absolutely, and that is a stellar of a job from Keza, who, again, does really good in the races, but then he can't take the advantage of getting into that last bit. And someone's a barrel behind. No, actually, Keza's made the move around. Oh no! Don't you dare! Don't you dare! Don't you dare make a silly move now! He's going to go down the straight now. Keza's now made the move. He's going to go for the inside. Melanie needs to be careful. Oh, fantastic move. Brilliant move there. And Sol Barber. Oh my God! I think Darrell made that move into turn 5 and I didn't see it. I think he made that move into turn 5.
I think he got his nose ahead before the braking zone, but it was on the outside potentially, so backed out. But that was almost perfect from Melanade, because we have a yellow flag. That is going to be Steven. Unfortunately,
and Smoke.
A bit more good luck. But yeah, the biggest thing here, Melanade almost played a perfect part with Darrell. Again, both of them not teammates. Melanade's teammates actually Sab. But yeah, Melanade almost helped Darrell an absolute treat by trying to almost holding up Keza there. Keza now 1.2 behind the leading pair. So can he close to that within a second and get some DRS?
We'll have to wait and see. But Speed Queen! She's made a move! No! She's trying those upside moments with Melanade! Go on! Oh no! Someone spun off! Someone has
Ginger Tiger.
Ginger Tiger! You do not expect that at all! That is mad! But what a move there from Speed Queen! And she's lightning to catch up to the top 4 now, JP!
Yeah, unfortunately Ginger Tiger as well, he's lost the left-hand end plate of the front wing, so that car's not going to be very nice to drive. He may end up having to come in for a pit stop to change that. He just got a bit loose through Curva de Sol, not even touching the curb I don't think, he just a bit of a random loss of traction, which hasn't helped him on that occasion. But Keza, just about almost 1 second, not quite through the detection. I'll see if he's got any DRS. The answer is no. But he is gaining here, and with Darrell all over the back of that Alpine into Curva 1, Keza could come in really late in the race here to have a go at the win. Yeah,
absolutely. And if he can hold on, that'll be a magnificent achievement. Whatever happens, Darrell needs to push. They've both got no ERS. They have both got no ERS. The top 2 have got no ERS. Keza's not. He's only got a minimal ERS. He's got minimal ERS. And that is surprising. Yellow flag set to 1. That is a McLaren. That might be. Yeah, so Michael. Oh my God, Darrell. Darrell, just play it safe. Make your move perfectly. And if you do, you'll take the rewards. He really is eager to get past Simon Palmer, JP.
Yeah, and there's good reason for that right now, because the 3 second penalty drops him down to 4th. He currently doesn't have a podium spot, and I wonder if he thinks that if he can get ahead of Simon into Descida de Lago, whether he can pull away enough to that Simon won't be much of a threat down the main straight, because he needs to find some way of getting 3 seconds to Russman here.
Well, yeah, absolutely, but as you earlier said, that you were hoping that these two would work together, but it looks like they're not doing anything about it. This is a chance now for Darrell. It looks like he's had a great exit, but cannot make that move. He can't make that move.
And look who's looming behind.
It's like the Jaws.
Keza is right there.
It's like Jaws moments, like da da. You got Keza coming as well. That's mad. Keza, if the Jaws I'm going to have to call him nickname the Jaws if he does get into first place the way he looks, and I think he might do. And watching it from his perspective, this has been a brilliant battle. Joe Hamster.
That's close. I was going to say Joe Hamster and Ginger through Ferrachora. That was very close, but Joe Hamster into 6th. That front wing is not helping Ginger Tiger. The question is, does he pit or does he just try and hang it out? It depends how quickly those behind gain. But now Russman outside of DRS from Keza.
And Keza's closing the battle of Darrell. This is going to be who will try and survive in this podium positions. At the moment, Salomon will win the Brazilian Grand Prix and then go another DRS. Russman is going to be absolutely fuming. But again, he'll be happy. He'll be happy whatever happens because you've got 2 drivers who are already 3-second time penalties. All he has to do is just make sure he's within 3-second time. But Keza Darrell needs to do something because they don't want to be sitting ducks. Oh my god, can you imagine if Simon Palmer and Russman had 3-second time penalties? That would have caused even more havoc and more headaches galore.
Yeah, that's unfortunate
for
Keza.
Sorry, JP.
He got a
safety car. Oh my god.
Who is that going to be? It's everyone's had to slow right up for the Delta. I don't know whether that might have been Sunboy through Desida de Lago. He's got no front wings. That's where the safety car's been called out, is through Desida de Lago. Now this makes for an interesting case. What do the top 5 do?
Oh my god, Simon's gone in for the pits.
Darrell's in. Keza's going to be double stacking.
Everyone's pitted. Well, the top 5 definitely have been pitted. Where's Joe Hamster? Are they pitting?
Joe Hamster's going to the pits. This is perfect for Ginger Tiger. He can make a pit stop and get that front wing changed with minimal cost. Nitrogash, he's coming into the pits. We are about to have a second sprint race of the day.
Oh my god. Can you imagine if it was like 5 laps remaining or 2 laps remaining? That would have been.
Stephen, the first one to not pit. He's on 9-lap-old medium tyres here.
I don't blame him for that. And he's got nothing to lose. He's got absolutely nothing to lose. And he could cause a havoc. But again, with the drivers who are on the softs, pretty much nearly everyone except for Stephen, he thought, oh, let's just gamble to try and go to near the drivers ahead. But we're going to have an absolute belter. I feel bad for Keza because he was in 3rd. I don't know what happened to him, to be honest.
The Alpines had to double stack because obviously Simon came in. He was first, Keza 3rd. So those Alpines had to double stack and they were a lot closer than what the McLarens who done it earlier were.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what's happened to Keza there.
Okay, so this is what happens. If it stays like this, I'm just going to put the leader. If it stays like this, Darrell will be out of the top 3. It will be Russman and Speed Queen will be in the top 3. If it stays like this, I'm just saying a big if. Let's just hope the safety car can be fair to all these drivers, JP. I'll say that again.
It looks like I think it's picked up. I think because it's picked up the correct person this time, it should be fine. I think there was just a little bit of a. I mean, to speak of last night, I think it picked up an AI driver last night, which kind of confused it more and caused all the carnage. But this time it's picked up the right person, so we should have everyone in the line. And I would probably guess either safety car in this lap or next, depending on how close Sab, ARL and Sir Spud get to the train, which they should catch up. In this lap.
Actually,
no. Into the pits again.
What's going on? Oh.
I'm just having a look in the pits now. I wonder. There's no front wing to go onto that car.
I wonder if he's going fresh softs.
He's literally just changing. He's gone from a set of fairly fresh softs to a set of softs that, well, I guess 2 laps on the softs could be worth quite a lot here. So he's probably changed those. I mean, Smoke's softs are 4 laps old.
I mean, Smoke will have the advantage to go all the way to the end anyway, but he will struggle near the end Probably about lap 34, 35 will be the most talking point.
ARL pitting, that could cause this safety car to go an extra lap because he's not going to be on the back of the pack. That safety car has to be called in at the second sector line, so between Magulio and Juncal.
But we have seen there have been times where the safety car comes in and it was very late calls. It's been very late calls, and I will not be surprised if we get a very late call at this stage because it's not far. It's not that far. ARL can see the drivers now.
Yeah, that's too late now. It's way too late because the safety car coming up to the entry to the pit, so we're going to have one more lap of safety car, and we are going to have a 5-lap, or a 5-6 lap sprint race.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm absolutely looking forward to it. And if you are enjoying it and you're enjoying the race so far, please make sure you like, subscribe to the Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel for all the live racing itself. We are aiming for at least 10 likes tonight, guys. We're aiming for at least 10 likes. Will be a massive help to myself, Malc, and JPH for joining me tonight. Unfortunately, Tim cannot make it due to personal reasons, but I'm hoping he'll be back next week for round 13. But if you like what you've seen so far, please hit that like button. For your appreciation of the commentators as well as the appreciation of the stream. Hit that like button, guys. Please hit that like button. Thank you so much. And Reen says, I think Rusman has a good shout at the win. Simon has been defending like a bull. Do you agree with that, JP?
Yeah, I mean, he's been a bit like Fernando Alonso at Budapest at times, I think. He's been very, very good defensive, but the thing we got here with the safety car restart, which should be this lap, there's no DRS for the first two, so we're only going to get 3 laps of DRS, and everyone now has full batteries available to use for attacking and or defending. So this could be interesting. I think O'Stevens probably in the worst position here. 11 lap old mediums, the traction of those is going to be nothing compared to the softs, so I think he's going to go backwards in a fair hurry. Dependent on how he manages to use that battery and gets the traction. But Malc, I'll leave it to you for the restart because I think they're going to back the field up and go as late as they can.
And also Simon Palmer's not messed about, he's made the move now. We're back live racing now. We're back live racing. Thank you for that, JP. You'll get a star at the end of this race. So here we go. Okay, Darryl, hold on.
Oh, Keza down the inside of Speed Queen turn 1.
Oh!
Still side by side, and Speed
what a
Queen
move!
fails on the exit of that one.
What a
good defence from Speed Queen.
Yeah, what a recovery. Defending from Speed Queen. That was a brilliant move, to be fair. But Simon Palmer needs to use that experience. He wants to push as much as possible. But Keza needs to try and fight. Oh, so there's quite a few drivers have spun out. It looks like IRL and Michael and Spud. Oh, what's happened there? Turn 4.
So Spud, Michael, look, I wonder if there's contact between Spud and Michael, because Spud looked like he just waited for Looker to go through first, so maybe able to contact down there. Meanwhile, Joe Hamster. Oh, contact between Joe Hamster and O'Stevens round.
No, that's not what you wanted at this stage. That'll probably have to be checked by stewards afterwards. But Joe Hamster needs to try and catch us in nitric ash. So, Mad C's, to be fair, absolutely mad. But well done to Nitric Ash, actually, because he's done a recovery drive this race. After that struggles earlier on, he's got himself up to 6th place. Just like, oh my god, come on! We can have a 3-to-bed moment, come on! No! Oh, come on! We want the 3-to-bed moment, Ginger Tiger. Speed Queen got herself back up to 4th, I believe, again. Keza drops out of 5th. And I tell you what, sorry, JP.
So I'm going to go back to Ginger Tiger because Ginger Tiger and Joe Hamster now side by side. I'll refer back to Kez in a minute.
Whoa!
Bit of contact on the entry. And Ginger Tiger all over the curve, almost losing the rear. Joe Hamster wide. Joe Hamster will get the place. But again, that could... Joe Hamster relinquishes that place for probably an unfair advantage with the contact. And a couple of cars go wide. So the wise idea, that's really wise from Joe Hamster, as I think Melanie's dropped backwards. So really good that from Joe Hamster to relinquish that place. But Keza tried to go around the outside of Speed Queen around turn 1 once again. Didn't quite work. Absolutely.
It looks like Darryl's trying to put the pressure on Simon Palmer again. This has been one of the greatest battles we've ever seen for a very long time. And here we go.
Sorry, Joe's going backwards. Smoke's now passing through Jung Cow. I wonder if he's picked up any front wing damage from that contact though, Stephen, because it was pretty square on the front wing there.
So we'll find out in a minute. Keza Speed Queen. Keza Speed Queen are absolutely swapping places left, right, and beeping centre moments. And I tell you what, these guys need to pick up positions. Daryl, oh my God, what is going on? I don't know about you, but I'm not saying I'm noticing a bit of lag or anything, but I've noticed that the cars are jumping on a few occasions now and again, JP.
I think it's just how quick they're pushing, to be honest, Mac. They're probably, for a 5-lap sprint race, they are absolutely going manic out there. As Joe Hamster loses a place to Sunboy, that's definitely got front wing damage. He goes wide through Larinia.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is chaos. This is basically sprint race round 2.
Round 2 fight! Moments now. Daryl trying to put the pressure on Simon Palmer. 2/10 now. 2/10 is the way forward, but this race has been Simon Palmer defending, and Daryl cannot make the move. Only been a few occasions where Daryl has made the move, but Simon Palmer, with that straight line speed, he just can't afford to lose out. But look at this. Red Bull's got some wings now. Got a grey exit. Now this is a chance for... Oh my God, Simon Palmer made a move. Oh, bit of a late last minute decision on moving back to the racing line a little bit. But yeah, that's...
Yeah, perfectly clear though. So that's good defensive driving from Simon Palmer there. Obviously, you don't really want to be defending if you don't have to, so that's good stuff from him. I think Daryl was hoping Keza and Speaker would be fighting a little bit more because they were starting to drop back. Oh, Keza has a massive slide through Pinarino up towards Bika to Pato, well held by him. But his problem now for Keza is nitric gas is within 3 seconds, so Keza will be losing a place at the end of this race.
Yeah, so nitric gas could be moved to fit, and looks like Spud's having a torrid time.
Yeah.
So Spud's having a torrid time.
Doing some donuts for the fans.
I'm not going to watch. I'm so sorry, Sir Spud. I will watch it later on again. But we got the battle for the final lap. Final lap of this race. Simon Palmer could be on for holding on to win.
Sorry, Mac. The Haas is a side by side up towards turn 1, and some boy gets past Smoke, by the looks of it. So some boy up into 8th, Smoke into 9th, and Joe Hamster all over the back of the Haas now, going through down towards Decido Delago.
And here we go now. They need to push. They need to push now. But look at this. Daryl's trying... Oh God, Joe Hamster's just going way right. It's like doing rally crossing rather than F1 racing at this stage. Yellow flags through, that is Spud again.
Spud, yeah. Those tyres are red hot. He can't quite get around the corner without them losing traction.
Oh, contact again. Contact again between Joe Hamster and Smoke. Joe Hamster and Smoke have a bit of contact moments. Looks like Sab's dropped down to 14th. Simon Palmer will hold on. Daryl needs to make the move. He needs to make the move now, but... Sab
out.
Sab's retired. Sab has retired on track. I don't know if he's just lost communication, but they're on the final lap. And Simon Palmer, you are a winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Congratulations to him. Russman will finish off in 2nd place. That is good points for him, actually. Very, very good points. And Speed Queen, out of nowhere, she got herself into another podium position in 3rd place. Daryl will be kicking himself, but still, that was a better race than the F3 race last night that he's done. Kessler feels sorry for him. He had the chance to get a podium, but could not make it. Nojagash, good recovery drive from that issues they had earlier on. Tiger will be fuming not to capitalise on to catch up with Russman. So yeah, mad scenes. Sunboy will finish off in 8th. Smoke in 9th. O'Steven will finish off in 10th. Melanade will finish off in 11th. Joe Amster in 12th. ARL 13th. Michael 14th. And Sir Spud is just doing his last lap now. He's just managed to do it.
I'll have to show you as well, Mark. Keep going till the end, because Sir Spud's just gained the place, so he's gained a little bit more points due to Sam's retirement, which I still find a very strange retirement, because it looked like the car was still moving under AI power afterwards. So a very weird one on that one.
Yeah, that'll have to be talked about later on. Stuart says, are they all 3-second penalties out there? there was quite a few penalties that had 3 seconds, but you'll see it later on. Apparently, Stephen, driver of the day, is on the game. But yeah,
Character looked a bit tired there, didn't he?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But Simon Palmer, who said that this was his time to win the Brazilian Grand Prix, and he was not half right. He was not half right. He was the winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Well done to him. Fantastic stuff for Simon Palmer. Unbelievable. And yeah, he's just absolutely jubilant scenes. Well done to Russman, also in second place. And well done to Speed Queen. She's done an amazing job again to get herself into the top 3. But Russman will be your Drivers' Championship leader after Brazil, whatever happens, depending on points, depending on penalties as well. But your ARL says, I'll try, but everything keeps going wrong. Well, you never know, ARL. You never ever know what's going to happen at this stage. So we'll find out what's going to happen. Here we go. Let's go to the race classification quickly. Simon Palmer is your winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix in first place. You got Russman in second, Speed Queen third, Darrell in fourth, Keza fifth, Nigel Gash sixth, Ginger Tiger seventh, Sunboy eighth, Smoke ninth, Stephen 10th, Melanade 11th, James 12th, ARL 13th, Michael 14th, Spud 15th, and Sab 16th. And if you're just joining late and you're wondering what happened with the sprint, Simon Palmer got pole position, Darrell 2nd, Nigel Gash got 3rd, Keza 4th, Russman 5th, Speed Queen 6th, Sunboy 7th, Ginger Tiger 8th, Joe in 9th, Michael 10th, Melanade 11th, Smoke 12th, Spud 13th, Stephen 14th, ARL 15th, and Sab 16th place. I don't know how I got that, all those two standings in one go. Bish bash bosh moments now. I tell you what, I don't know if Speed Queen will join in. If not, we will be able to do the top 2 drivers. So I know they're here, but give us a couple of minutes because it was an absolute epic feature and sprint race that we have just seen. So bear with us a sec, guys. Could be back in about a minute or 2. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Invictus Racing League, the Realistic Performance League on the PlayStation platform, brought to you in partnership with GridFire.com. And I tell you what, I'm sure JP will say the same thing. One unbelievable feature and a sprint race that we have seen at the Brazilian Grand Prix. I expected, funny enough, I was expecting to see no safety car for the very first, well, I'll say very first time, but like for a few times, because it was very rare cases where we had no safety cars. But it brought out, as JP said, round 2 of the fight scenes to see who would try and win the Brazilian Grand Prix. And we've got 2 of the 3 dropped the top drivers, but also we've got Daryl to join in, because I know Speed Queen cannot make it to the chats on the onto the interviews, but hopefully one day she will join as we speak. But we have got Simon Palmer and Russman, as well as Daryl, because I'm sure the top, well, especially Daryl and Simon will have a lot of sweaty question moments as well from that race. So let's start with, I tell you what, I feel bad starting with Daryl. Daryl, how you doing, mate? You alright?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate.
I'm sorry to say this, I'm gonna have to start you on this. You had every time when I watched you, you could not make the move onto Simon Palmer, and when you finally did, he's got a rocket of that car to get past with the low downforce. What was the difference between yourself tonight and your battle with Simon Palmer?
Exactly that rocket shift he had behind him. Just every time I thought about a move, I just thought, was it worth it? You know, 1, holding us both up, and 2, if I got past, then once it was on straight, he was going to go flying past, which I think we saw a few times. So on the straights he had the pace. I had a bit higher wing, so on the middle section I was kind of catching. I was always within 2 to 3 tenths of each other. But yeah, just my aim was just with that 3-second penalty to try and build a gap to behind, but they was catching, and obviously the safety car ended up ruining that for me, but never mind.
But, I mean, compared to what happened last night in F3, compared to tonight, surely this is... I know you're not in the top 3, and normally we don't do this with drivers coming out from the top 3 to join in, but it was Simon's request to Pester to get yourself in, Daryl, and I respect that, because I think you two had pretty much dog-eat-dog moments on track, and that was one of your best performances, I think, this season. Do you agree, Tommy?
Yeah. First of all, appreciate Simon asking me to come in, but yeah, I think both sprint race and feature race, I think we was 1-2 the whole time. So it was good. Like I say, compared to last night, it was polar opposites. So it was nice to be up there and battling the whole time. The sprint race, that should have been my win, but I was a bit stupid and didn't put enough fuel in. So with about 5 laps to go, I had to just keep lifting off and coasting, and luckily I had a big enough gap to third, so still managed to get second. But yeah, it's one of those nights.
It's just one of those nights, absolutely. JP, have you got any questions for Daryl?
Yeah, obviously you got the penalty very early in the race, considering how late normally everyone would get them. And when you were battling Simon, you looked like you were fighting him a lot harder than what it sounds like you were. At what were you ever trying to work with him? And what point did you basically go in your head, I need to just work with him here? Because it looked like you never really were. You're always looking for that move into Cida de Lago, potentially try and build a gap through the middle sector.
Yeah, it was exactly that. I mean, in the party, I said the only time we had to try and build a gap was through sector 2, basically, to try and get past, coming up to turn 4. I think during the feature, I don't know, in the middle of the race, I made an overtake at turn 1, but it held both of us up and brought both Keza and Rossman in. I just said that was the point. I was like, okay, I've got to stop doing that and just sit behind him, because it's not going to work. You know, I'm not going to build a big enough gap to keep ahead of him on the straights. So at that point, this is before the safety car, it was stay with him, build enough gap to the guys in behind. I think Rossman was going to get me anyway, because Keza had 3 seconds. So my battle in my head was with Keza to try and get third. And even then with the safety car, I was trying to build a gap to Speed Queen, but I think it was about 2 seconds in the end, so just not quite enough.
Fair enough. Sorry, JP, I thought you've got many more questions. My bad.
Back to you.
My bad. Yeah, so I should have known about that. But well done to Daryl for finishing 4th.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers for that. Russ, man, how you doing, mate? It feels like decades since the last time you joined.
It does, mate. It's been a long time, long time.
So
I think, Bahrain first round of the season was the last time I was here, so long time.
to be honest, mate, I mean, the way that we see on the standings, it's very difficult to find out what was the points from the sprint and the feature at the time. And obviously, when you've done the race, that's it. But it feels like ages ago. I can't believe that was round 1 at the Bahrain.
I know.
But don't get me wrong, I will say this: you had a great race. I felt like you had a quiet but silent assassin moment throughout that race.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It was a quiet race, one of the quietest I've had all season, to be fair. It always felt like I was about half a second away from the action. I was about half a second behind Keza, and then after the safety car at the end, I was about half a second behind Simon and Darrell. So, I was just trying to focus on my own race, really. It was pretty straightforward. I mean, the safety car was ruining my luck because I felt quite comfortable at the time, sort of managing the gap to Speed Queen behind, and there was a couple of guys with a penalty ahead of me, so I was just trying to stay within 3 seconds of them. I was managing that comfortably, and then the safety car came out, and it was a whole different ball game. But fortunately, I somehow managed to jump Keza in the pits and came out ahead of him. And then just had to try and manage the gap to Speed Queen behind me and stay within 3 seconds of Darrell, really.
It's whatever happens, it's still a monumental achievement. But I'm still going to have to call you the silent assassin from now on.
That's fair enough, mate. I'll take that. I've been called worse.
Well, I wouldn't call you worse because you're a good driver, to be fair. But from your perspective, I'm going to say this from the Drivers' Championship perspective. You was, I believe, 1 point behind the Tiger. You had the chance to win last season, if I remember it right, last season on F1 2021. But obviously, due to personal reasons, you had to leave near the end of the season, which was unfortunate for you. But have you got that determination to win, get that over the edge moments within the next 3 races coming up?
I mean, I hope so. This is my 3rd season in IRL now, and I've been in the hunt all 3 seasons. If you remember, I lost out in Mexico to ARL on the last race of the season, on my debut season. I was in the running last year, and I'm in the running this year, so it'd be nice to get one over the line, but, taking nothing for granted at the moment. I think, Ginger's still in the mix, Smoke's still in the mix as far as I'm concerned, so it's far from finished yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Because between you and Ginger Tiger, was only 1 point behind tonight, and you've had a fantastic race, and surely you'll be quite a lot of points ahead of Ginger Tiger. So, whatever happens tonight, or whatever happens this season, you two have been dog-eat-dog moments. I'll keep saying dog-eat-dog because it's you two banging out in the driver standings as well as the constructors as well. So it's just been immense stuff. But fair play to you, JP. Have you got any questions for Russman?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you were saying behind Keza, you're kind of in no man's land. Not really there to attack, not having to defend. I mean, at that point, obviously, prior to Keza getting his penalty, because obviously once he got his penalty, everything kind of relaxes in you because you just have to stay within 3 seconds to get that place off him. But prior to his penalty, I mean, what was the thought pattern? Was it just a case of, I can't quite get him, so let's just keep the gap there and keep the pressure on and hope the mistake comes? Because it was quite clear you weren't really going to make that move on track in terms of through the DRS or through any of the corners at that point.
Yeah, basically the battle plan was just get to the finish line as quick as I can, and what happens happens. My only focus at that point of the race was just trying to manage the gap to Speed Queen and Ginger were behind me at the time, so I was just trying to manage the gap to them and stay ahead of them. Just desperately trying to stay within Keza's DRS, hoping that Darrell and Simon would be battling one another and they might lose a few tenths here and there. I was just hoping that Keza was going to sort of drag me along, and there might have been a sort of 4-way battle towards the end. That's all I was thinking, but I was just focused on my own race, really, just trying to keep it on the road and, like I said, get to the checkered flag as quick as I could.
Nice one.
Absolutely. Malc, back to you.
Perfect timing, JP. Perfect timing. Well done, Russ, man. Well done for getting second place. Fantastic drive.
Thanks, mate.
And well done. You are now the Drivers' Championship leader in the Realistic Performance League. Congratulations, mate. Well done on that.
Thank you.
Simon Palmer, are you there? Are you there?
Yeah, man.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
That's the most the most explosive entrance I expected from Simon Palmer, to be honest. But that is well, by the sounds of it, you must have had a quiet race, haven't you, mate? To be honest.
That wasn't quiet.
Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean, don't you? Let's try again.
Not at all. Daryl literally within 3-4 tenths of me the whole race. It was that was epic, you know. And kudos to Daryl. That was some great racing. Fucking loved it. Oh, sorry.
We do apologise for any swearing. We do apologise for that. Sorry, guys.
I loved it. That was so good. So good.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like I said, guys, we do apologise for any swearing during the stream. Normally we not do that, express that on screen, but the way that you can tell from Simon's point of view, he was absolutely delighted with that battle and, delighted to be finished at the end of the race. So well done to Simon Palmer. I mean, fantastic stuff. But from your perspective, Simon, can I just say, did you had low downforce set up at all, like 0-0 wings? Because that's what it felt like on the straights.
Wasn't 0-0.
Well, it felt like it on the straights.
What were you running, Daryl?
I think I was on 14, 16, something like that, maybe.
Okay, I was running 8-13.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So that's what done it. And I knew, I kind of gathered that the straight line was there. And I just used that to advantage, really, to be honest. I just used ERS when I needed to. Didn't use it when I didn't need to.
Yeah.
I got worried on the hard stint once we all boxed, because obviously the downforce that Daryl had was working a lot better, and I was having to work the ERS a lot more on the hard stint.
Fair enough.
And then obviously the safety car, and I was like, what do I do? I was like, shit, what do I do? And yeah, so obviously box for the softs. I think that's what stuffed up Keza, because he was in the same car as me, so I think he probably had a double stack.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the softs, to be honest, I don't think they saved me. I just think it made life a little bit easier.
Fair enough.
But that was sweaty moments from the start of the sprint to the end of the feature was just crazy. The closest race I've ever had. That was every single, like both races within 4 or 5 attempts, every single race.
Absolutely.
That was just awesome. Loved it.
Yeah. But like I said, Simon, I'm sure it's delighting. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of drinks after tonight, because I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. And again, we do apologise if you hear him swearing during that stream from Simon Palmer. He does apologise right here, right now. We don't promote swearing on the stream unless you're absolutely delighted outside of the stream. Fantastic stuff. So, JP, have you got any questions for Simon before we shoot off?
Yeah, I've got a couple for Simon. Obviously,
Okay.
The first thing is, I think it's quite commendable, Simon, that obviously you had to take a little bit of time away, obviously due to personal reasons. And since you came back in, I believe, France, you came back. In the past 5 races, you've had a couple of wins now. Did that win in Mexico, I believe it was, has that kind of spirit? Honestly, I know you had a bit of a poor Australia, but that win in Mexico seems to have just ignited something, especially here in Brazil.
Yeah, Australia didn't go to plan. There was a lot more there than what was shown. I think I probably would have been talking to you guys again. Yeah, it sounds stupid, but like it just puts stuff into perspective, and you just like look at stuff. It just sounds stupid, but
fair enough, Simon.
So I'll go on to the second bit. And this is kind of coming back off Daryl. Had Daryl got you into Cedar de Lago at 10-4, do you think you'd have still managed to get the win because of the pace he had through that second sector? Do you think this would have been slightly different?
no, I think if I could have kept in DRS, which I think I'll probably would have done. The straight line I had was just crazy, and I think I don't know. It's a hearsay, isn't it? But I think every opportunity would have still been there. I think we'd see more battling, more overtakes. But yeah, I just want to thank Daryl for a bloody good race. You know, that was epic. I loved it.
Fair dues. Yeah, is that everything, JP?
Yeah.
Nice one. So, Simon Palmer, you are winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Congratulations for you, and wish you all the very best of luck for the remainder of the 3 races coming up soon. Well done, mate. Congratulations. Right, well done to Simon Palmer, Russman, and also to Speed Queen, who got themselves into the top 3. And thank you to Daryl for joining us with pestering from Simon Palmer's request to bring him in, because we would have liked to hear his thoughts from that epic finale. Well, I say finale, but it was epic throughout the battles between them two. We are back next week for round 13, I believe, unless JP beats me to it. I think it's Abu Dhabi.
It is Abu Dhabi, yeah.
That was pure guessing. I'm glad I got that right, to be honest. So Abu Dhabi will be at round 13. Who will be the lucky person? Normally round 13, or normally the number 13, has always been unlucky for everyone. But could it be lucky for you guys in the day to night scenario at Abu Dhabi with the new layout? I quite like looking forward to that, because I think that's much better than the old layout, especially the third sector as well. So it'll be interesting. Be very interesting to see who will battle it out in Abu Dhabi. But yeah, cheers for that, guys. Hopefully Tim will be joining us next week, all being well. If not, I'll try and pester JPH. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge moments. But JPH, thank you so much for joining tonight. It's been a great stand-in as always, and I do appreciate your work. And have you enjoyed the race? Is there any good moments that you want to talk about before we shut down?
I think that there wasn't any bad moments in there, was there, Malc? I mean, we were chasing our tails, looking at every battle we could, I think.
Yeah,
and that's always the sign of a good race. It was, the top 4 were tight. You couldn't ask for much more of a better race from Brazil. Absolutely,
and that's what we love about Brazil, because you never know what's going to happen next, and we'll wait for that to see if it happens next season in Invictus. But see you all next week for round 13. If you want to find out what's the next race coming up, we did say it was Abu Dhabi, but this time will be the F1 on Monday nights, so check it out, guys. So check it out on Monday night. And for the final time of asking, please make sure you like, subscribe to the Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel for the live race itself. We're aiming for at least 10 likes tonight, guys. We're aiming for at least 10 likes. Will be a massive help to myself, Malc, and also to JPH for joining me tonight in the commentators box, as well as Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel. I'm going to shoot off. JP's going to shoot off. Everyone's going to shoot off. We'll see you all next week. Ta-ra, bit. Bye-bye.